Hi guys, it's me, Joseph Anderson again, and for this video that I will be dedicating to the holiday season of 2025, I would like to go back to a simple time in which the subject of Christmas and the celebration of the holiday was about this guy, Jesus Christ, from this, the Bible. This was well before the commercialization of Christmas and the Christmas tree and all the decorations and whatnot, and the myth of Santa Claus and the elves. Now, what I'm about to talk about now is a very good movie from the very distant past of 1973. Before I was born, everything before I was born was from the very distant past to me, because obviously, as a millennial person, or someone that was born within 20 years, the millennium, I don't care about the ancient past. So for all I know, the people that were born before that time period, before 1985, for all I know, they were born around the same time as Jesus Christ, or Jesus Cristo. So, yeah. I've just alienated most of the people who are of that age group. Let me talk about the 1973 movie version of Jesus Christ Superstar. Now, at first, I knew that this would be based on a play by, I think it was Andrew Lloyd Webber. So, I kind of liked his rendition of the Phantom of the Opera, even though there were some quirks about it that were kind of different, that kind of were unpositive, doing question, so on and so forth. But it was a pretty good movie all around. I heard that I might not like this movie because I heard some very weird things about it. But let me just say that this movie is the best rendition of the Passion of the Christ story that I ever heard. It's a lot better than the real Passion of the Christ movie, of which I heard is getting a sequel. But I hope that with the sequel to that, I just hope there isn't so much 300-esque slow motion in it, because otherwise it might last for 3 or 4 hours worth. We can't have that, can we? So this movie is automatically a plus for that. No slow motion torture scenes, more or less. So that's that. And before I get the actual movie proper, I should point out, that in the year by itself, 1973, it's a very weird year for this movie to come out in, because it also happened that the movie The Exorcist came out, in which a demon named Zuzu took control of a little girl's body and did all kind of weird shit. And there was some mention of a mother having relations in the big fireplace. So that was pretty funny to me, at least. But it's very coincidental that you're talking about a movie that involves some holy Jesus Christ being crucified and went out for our sins, juxtaposed with the movie that was the scariest movie on earth, time, I will argue that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was worse than that, but whatever. Personal taste, right? But as far as rules go, I would say that The Exorcist was by and large the scariest thing ever made. And then the holiest thing would be Jesus Christ. So anyway, this movie's actually really good for that. But what I find really funny is that this movie is something that you would expect to see from Family Guy or from Austin Powers. Because it's just so batshit crazy that it, like I said, it's unironically my favorite retelling of the Passion story. A lot better than, say, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. And I know that movie is sacred to some, no pun intended, but this movie is generally that funny and that good. So also, I should point out that this movie, being that it was from the 70s, there's a very interesting tint to the way everything comes out. In that everything is from the 70s, so you got a lot of disco inspired clothes, like hippies, lots of things of the time period deal with the 70s in America. So a lot of it comes out to be more like the Bell Browns, the outfits on, the this, that, and the plus it's mainly from a perspective of Judas Iscariot, the guy who betrayed Jesus Christ, which I wouldn't expect to put too much faith in that. No pun intended again, because the story does recount things that happened after his death. By suicide by hanging from a tree. Which, unlike the Bible miniseries for Goodwill, they actually show him actually hanging himself. You don't cut away to his feet or whatever, or his shadow like in Tarzan, Disney Tarzan. But they actually show him get the dog or whatever, and they have him hanging it, throwing the rope over the tree branch, and then he show him very delightfully hanging himself. So that's something that's really good for kids. But besides that, this movie is all the little bonkers in some cases. I'll get to that in a bit, because it really is quite funny. So anyway, you get this weird thing with this 70s or maybe late 60s style bus. And I think that you could easily describe it as like a hippie bus, because most of the people are hippies in this film. Well, the actors portray as hippies. So anyway, you have these guys like unpacking and stuff, and I think that the general idea is that the retelling the story of Jesus Christ in Iscariot and the rest of the gospel people. So anyway, they show they show all these people, and then they also show this shot in the desert of Joseph and just Jesus and the crew going to Jerusalem as per the traditional story. But the fun thing is that they're actually seeing it and yet there's a musical by way. So most of the songs here remind you of the wizard scene in which all the workers of the Wicked West disrobe and then go into like a semi-orgy type of thing. But these people all remain clothed, thank goodness. So anyway, they have the song it like sing the song of when we getting to Jerusalem, or something similar to that effect. So you know what I think this is the biblical version of when you were a kid and you used to say, "Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?" So every time that some kid asks a question, the people always say, "No, no, no." It's the same answer as when you asked 5 seconds ago. No, no. Don't make me have to pull this caravan around, because I will so turn this caravan around. And it just gets funnier at that moment, because then they have the famous part where Jesus Christ, which I could swear was the same guy that played the butterfly in The Last Unicorn, but it's not. It's Ted Neely. So then they had the traditional part about Jesus Christ going to Last Supper. They have him being on trial with King Herod. King Herod interviewing him and saying that, you know, if you were really the king of the Jews or the Messiah, like they say, you can perform miracles and stuff, and you can walk on water. Well, walk on top of the water on a pool. Now that's something you would expect from a Family Guy or a parody like Austin Powers to have. It's funny and so out there because back in those times, I'm sure that they had pools back in biblical times. I mean, but the fact that you had this King Herod saying that in a modern pool sense, it's funny as well. Okay. Also, there's a really funny part where we all know the story about how Jesus Christ went to the money changers. He was so angry that the people that were using a church, you know, for like a church that was meant for the Lord to be used for like something like buying some goods and all that. So in typical Family Guy-esque fashion, there's like something like 25 years before the actual show Family Guy, by the way, they actually showed like different things that they were using the courtyard for in front of the church or the synagogue or whatever you call it. They were actually using they were using that space to sell prostitutes, which that seems very of the time. But the only thing is that the people that they were getting to do this were ladies of the evening, of course, but they were in modern dress, like modern for the 70s dress. It was so funny because they were doing moves that in biblical times would be considered no. They were inflexible or whatever, but it was just really funny. And to top that, it had a postcard tree there where you could buy like postcards of the area, visit Jerusalem and stuff. And that was pretty damn funny too. But what was even more funny was what else they were telling me that he flipped over the table on. really, really hilarious. But they had modern day weapons. Well, modern for the time anyway. So they had big heavy machine guns there, pistols, even grenades. And grenades. That was really funny to me. And I'm sure that would have been real fun to have if they were in real times. I'm sure Jesus Christ wouldn't be crucified if his followers had heavy machine guns to defend him and all that. That was a real topic on the cake for me. Say this goes from so to being awesome. So anyway, they had the part where, of course, they had the part where Judas takes the money and stuff for Jesus Christ. They had the Last Supper there. And it was funny, because, they also had, they had the part where Jesus defends Mary, and they had the part of the Sermon on the Mount too. So they were trying to make it as faithful to the story as they could. We're putting in a little jokes in about the pool, the weapons, the this and that. He didn't really get into all the torture and the whips and stuff, but that could just be for the censors for the movie at the time, which was actually pretty good. But they also at one point they had a tank salute for, I guess, for his death and his the promise that he could come back and stuff. And they also had the talking about the dead body. Yeah. At the end, they also have the part where remember that guy who supposedly helped Jesus carry the burden of the cross to his execution, which was all part of the punishment of, crucifixion, that guy carry on cross to it. But this guy, I think he hopped into an old 1970s bus or Beetle, and he went up to the mountain like that. To me, that's cheating. But of course, they had the part where they hammering his arms and his legs to the cross, so it was very sad, actually, in this comedy movie. And then at the end, when the show was all done with, they ended up packing the stuff into their wheels and the Volkswagen buses and all that, and hitting the road. So, all what I just told you about the whole passion story about the tourism and this and that was all part of a story that you would tell in the campfire and stuff. So actually, it was kind of interesting. It was more like the story but told from a guy that was telling his kids in the 70s about what happened with Jesus Christ and that death. And it was actually pretty good retelling of it. Like I said, there was no thing with the Pharisees and opening up the chest like a Hulk moment. But it was still pretty funny. All the tanks and the vehicles and the weaponry of the 70s at least. and it was really funny. It was very memorable. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. But I admit, the actors from the Bible miniseries and from the Passion movie were a lot more in step with what we would expect from a biblical retelling. Oh, there was no mention of the devil in this Jesus Christ Superstar. I guess because they didn't have an actor that was capable of such darkness and such such an evil presence, which was pretty good because this looked a lot harder rendition of it. They didn't want to probably scare the audience the way they probably wanted to make it more happy-go-lucky and stuff. Plus, also, Lori Andy didn't want to make any really evil characters in the story. In the story, you know. Plus, they probably wanted just to focus on the main bad guy, just as carry out. Which, by the way, if Jesus and by extension God knew that Judas would betray him, could you actually say that Judas was in charge of his own actions and then killed Jesus and then he betrayed Jesus Christ? But also another thing too is that you don't want to go into the whole religious angle of, you know, hating the Jews because they sent Jesus Christ up the river and stuff. It blames squarely on the Romans for that, which is good actually. So, yeah. I probably enjoyed this movie. I love the music in it. Like I said, the whole, we they get joke is always good. The actors are great. The musical aspect was great too. It was very fun and very full of energy. And that was actually pretty good. There was a little bit of blood in the core, but not nearly as much as the Passion of Christ. I'm still on the fence on whether I want to review that for this month or if I want to save for March, April time. But put the link for you if you watch that movie in the description below. It was very, very fun. It was a very, very, very good movie with all the anachronisms, like the modern vehicles and such, and the references. And I thank you for watching my video on the movie version of Jesus Christ Superstar. And I know that they made more play and more stage versions of it after that. One with Alice Cooper as Harry. But I'll cover that another day. But right now this movie is actually pretty damn good. I'm very much intended. So yeah. We did this for the holiday season of 2025. And I would like to give this my groovy, happy piece silver below because it's freaking awesome. It's a very good movie, very groovy, very, very funny. And I like the whole Mary Magdalene thing in there too. And that Jesus had to defend her from being called a prostitute. That's pretty good. You don't want to portray Jesus as an egalitarian religion. But also, I find it interesting that I've heard that Jesus Christ is more of a hippie than anything else, like all the religious figures. And being the testimony between the 70s right off the heels of the 60th, the big hippie era in American history. That rings true so much in this. So they do a good job with casting on that, in that part. Anyway, if you like what you see here, and you watch more of my channel and such, you can always like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. If you want to contact me for any future information on my videos and such, you can always call me or text me at 631-707-3707. And if you'd like, you can follow me on Twitter or X, if you prefer, at PNelsonPro. Also, you can get me on my email at jjsviewingchannel@gmail.com. Anyway, I look all people like these Jesus Christ stories, who like musical numbers, or just in general religious films, and this is by no means seriously taken. You shouldn't not like it, or because it's a musical and because it has some fun with Jesus Christ mythos. It's not meant to be serious. It's a great joy to watch, a great joy to have fun with, and all of that. If you want anything more serious, go for the Bible mini series, or if you're really in the mood for some masochism or sadism, go for the Passion of the Christ movie. Worth living in that case. But yeah, I'm not in the mood for seeing the big wall pain, so I'm not gonna watch it for this month. So yeah, peace out, my brothers and sisters. I'll see you in the next video. All you girls and guys in Interland. Ciao, ciao. Me knows.